right. Now we have lost the fourth immeasurable is equanimity.
So you can skip that one.
Then ready to go. That is the foundation of all other equanimity is may they remain in a state of equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. Can't skip that. That is the wish that all beings be free from attachment and aversion, those near and far is the definition, right? Definition of equanimity. So now this is, generally speaking, the masters, teachers said that when we meditate on four immeasurable aspirations, first we should start by developing equanimity. Because if we do not do this, then whatever love, compassion, and joy we develop will be take one side, right? Which means we develop love, compassion, joy towards our friends and whatever our relatives, therefore not equal towards all beings. So therefore the masters said that it is important to start by meditating on equanimity first. If we really want to develop a genuine love, genuine compassion, then first meditate on equanimity. Because it is like a farmer. Farmer first levels the field so that all the water doesn't gather one side and leave the other side dry, right? Because of equal. So this practice is very foundation of the other three immeasurable aspirations. Because, if our love, kindness, and compassion can arise on this foundation, they arise like water spilling out on an even plane in all directions, Then our love will be genuine, our compassion will be genuine, That's why this immeasurable is the foundation of the other three immeasurable aspirations. But for the beginner practitioners, it is difficult, right, to concentrate on equanimity first. So it is just fine that to start practice with love or compassion, whatever is easiest for the beginner. But if you start to practice with love, in our prayer, the order is the first love, then compassion, then joy, then equanimity, right? But if you start practice with love, at the same time, I think it is also important to think a little bit of equanimity. So therefore, practice equanimity goes with each immeasurable aspirations because it is the foundation, right? So for the beginners cannot practice equanimity the first. We can practice love, we can practice compassion, especially like love is very easy to develop. We can feel, we can experience when we practice love easy. So that's why I think love is first. But at the same time, you should think about a little bit equanimity. That helps your love is not just take one side, your side, right? It helps also think about others too. So whenever we practice on equanimity, the causes and conditions that give rise this practice is we always remember a simple thing. Each one looking for happiness and to be free of suffering, just like myself. So I'm not going to harm others. That's all. That's actually the this sort of whole idea of all four measurables, not harming others. That is the point. That's the why we are developing these four measurables, right? That is the purpose. So each love, compassion, all each this measurable, we have to make a commitment that I'm not going to harm others as much as I can, and instead help others as much as. Sometimes people say, oh, I can't help, I don't have that capacity. That's not true. Help is not also that kind of people thinking big help. It's not necessarily you can start helping sort of, huge. But even though like not actively, but mentally, if you have developed sort of this kind of motivation, think about others, and commitment in your mind, not harm others, that is big help. That's very, very good to start how to help others. That's what we call inspiration. No, aspiration. Aspiration bodhicitta. You have to make that, what do you call it? Implementation. That plan in your mind. I'm not going to harm others as much as I can help. So that's very, very important, right? So whenever we practice this four measurable, we need to remember simple things. Each one looking for happiness, not for suffering. So it's like myself. So I'm not going to harm others. That's the commitment. Do you understand? That is the whole point and commitment. So when we meditate on equanimity, uh, our meditation should be based on our beliefs and deep understanding. Because if we really believe and understanding that all beings are equally have one wish, then it will be easy to develop this practice, easy to change our minds and eventually to be free of attachment and aversion, right? Because equanimity means giving up attachment towards our friends and giving up the, what do you call it, hatred of enemies. The reason, because all beings equally want happiness and don't want suffering. So that is the bottom line. And that is the key point here. So now think about the equanimity. What is the definition? What is the characteristic of equanimity? Given yes, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far. Right? That is the characteristic of equanimity. So now we say free from attachment aversion. Here, free from attachment aversion means, for example, think about this way. When we suffer, it is usually related to our attachment and aversion. So if we try to develop equal mind, then our attachment turns into love. And if we try to develop equal mind, then our aversion turns into compassion. That's why the equanimity is very important in order to free from attachment and aversion. Because when we have these negative emotions, attachment and aversion, attachment towards our family, our friends, right? And then aversion towards enemies, that people or animals, whatever we don't like. So that is sort of, there says, near and far. Near, we develop attachment. Far, we develop aversion. But if we meditate on equanimity, equal mind, we slowly sort of change that near and far, which means our attachment become love and aversion become compassion. So that's why this is the foundation of love and compassion too. So otherwise, it is impossible to destroy our object of attachment and anger outside. You know, if we want to destroy these negative emotions, the best way is to look inside and develop equanimity. That is the best way to practice. Our minds not always to think equally, right? Because of attachment and aversion. That's the why. Not equal because of attachment and aversion. So we need to look directly at this anger, at this attachment, and then relax on equal mind. Do you understand? Why equal? Do you understand? This is the main thing. We all same one desire, one wish, free from suffering, want happiness. That's why we all equal. Not just the human level, not just the human beings, all beings, animals, insects, birds, whatever, who has a consciousness, want happiness, don't want suffering. Another method for meditating on equanimity, used to these masters, enlightened beings, they practice like, visualize. First, when we start equanimity, you visualize a friend, your friend, and you also visualize if you have enemy, or if you don't have enemy, then you visualize a neutral person. Okay? 2, visualization. You have friend, right? We all have friend. And then maybe we don't have enemy. That's good. And then you should visualize a neutral person. If you have enemies, then you should visualize enemy. Maybe you get angry. And then think, when you visualize, this is how you meditate on equanimity, right? And then think about each of these 2 people. during meditation, and how you feel about each of them. Who do we keep close to us, and who do we keep at distance? Of course, no question, right? We will naturally feel closer to our friends and more distance from our enemies or neutral people, And then once you see this, then think about why the friend is close to us. Of course, because they can help us, right? They can help us. The bottom line is me, the selfish, right? That's the point. And why we sort of keep the distance enemies, because um, um, they hurt us. They hurt me, me. So once we understand this, then take our analytical thinking a little bit further. And this time, think that how sometimes someone who was once our friend but becomes our enemy, or our enemy can becomes our friend. This happened a lot, because sometimes friends can harm us, and enemies can help, sometimes. So this kind of situation again always change until we get Buddhahood. Our friend become enemy become friend, neutral person become whatever, based on the circumstances, So therefore, this kind of situation always change. So there is no certainty that specific people will always be friends and always be enemies. No way. Always change. So, I always think that, the best way to keep healthy sort of relationship between our friends, we should sort of keep the friend, the relationship, whatever the relation, not too distant, but not too close. That's I do. I don't know you, because keep the relation too close, then we get problems. Every day talking, every day do something together, too close, then we get problems sometimes. And uh, but this relation to keep too distance, we will lose the connection, right? We will lose the connection. We don't want that, right? So the middle way is the best. Always the middle way is bad. I mean, but when they have difficulties, our friends difficulties, at that time I think it's so important to help each other. Try to help whatever you can, just to help when they need it. You know, that's the friends means, when they have a difficult situation, help. When they need help, then they have us. We can help, right? The same thing. We have difficult situation. Our friends will help. But usually I have a good situation. My friend have a good situation. Then we're fine. Just not too close, not too distance. Just keep the healthy relation. Just to keep that. But once we have difficult, don't forget to help. Right? That's my suggestion. If you hear my opinion, that's what I do. But uh, relationship between friends, and this is not so easy, right? So But if you develop this equanimity, the equal mind, no problem, no problem. There is no everything is like equal, right? No attachment, no aversion, no near, no far. That's the Buddha. That's the bodhisattvas. They can help whoever needs. Uh, but it's difficult. It's difficult. There was a story one day. The people are difficult. One day a man visited Buddha's monastery in India, and he wants to understand some of the teachings. And then the first time he went there, the man, he saw a monk who was in silent meditation at the monastery, and he didn't answer. This monk didn't answer when man spoke to him. Didn't answer, right? And then man sort of got disappointed, and then went back home. And then next day he went to monastery again, and he came back and he met another monk who was very scholarly, and he responded, to his questions and about the teachings with a long time, Then he got very bored, This monk is very scholarly. I don't understand at all. It's too long, because he couldn't understand, And then he came back again, and the next day he chanced to meet with Ananda. Ananda? Ananda was the Buddha's attendant, very famous. The Ananda, he met him. Now, the Ananda said to him, what happened on the first day? And he said, I got nothing. The monk said nothing at all. I didn't, I didn't get anything from him. And then Ananda asked, what happened the second day? Oh, the monk talked too much. And then Ananda, oh yeah, I understand. Ananda was very careful and to deliver only a medium length, But the man didn't satisfy it because the Ananda's teaching was not enough and not so clear. So then man went back. And then when the Ananda met the Buddha and described what happened, one of these 3 days with this man, and then the Buddha said, well, there is always blame in this world, no matter what you do. If you say too much, people will blame you. If you say too little bit, people will blame you. So this, is our nature, right? Always people blame. So it's difficult, right? So we and each sort of individual need to practice. Buddha said that. That's the only the way to have a healthy mind. Otherwise, if you don't tame your mind, and then you always blame, like this story, the man didn't satisfy anything. Too much, not good. Too little, not good, And then Ananda talk with him like medium length, didn't enough. It's just always not good. So you see, this is true. This is really true. This is very nature of an enlightened being's life, this ordinary people's life, until they develop these qualities. Then always good, right? So no one in this world experience only pleasure and satisfied. But we can be happy. We can be happy, if we practice, we can be happy. But if we don't practice, we're not going to change our minds, and we continually sort of, harm others and blame others, So it's It's very important to practice, but it is difficult to practice and develop equanimity. But we should try to practice equanimity as much as we can, right? And again, very important, when you practice love, when you practice compassion, each time, a little bit think about equanimity. When you practice love, think about equanimity. Practice compassion, think about joy, think about equanimity. In order to practice the equanimity, we need to make a strong, again, commitment in our mind and remember it all time, especially when we get sort of the negative emotions, right? When we get the negative emotions. Usually, a Buddhist point of view, the negative emotions come from negative actions, right? Actions. You should understand that when I say actions means physical action, verbal action, mental action. So lots of actions. So the negative emotions comes from negative actions. Negative actions come from negative karma. Okay? Negative karma come from karmic consequence, right? The cause and conditions, So that's why we have to take responsibility for ourselves and our actions. Do you understand? Each of us individually need to take responsibility our actions. Nobody can. Nobody can. But individual, each of us, we can. We can take care of our actions. We can take the responsibility. So therefore, Buddha says that all beings are the owners of their karma. To understand? But it doesn't mean that we don't care, We don't care. We should care. We should open our minds as much love, compassion, and rejoicing as we possibly can, right? But the most important is to practice equanimity because it sort of provides the balance for love and kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy. So our minds can become peace and to be able to accept things as they are, So this is the gift of equanimity. But the equanimity or the, what do you call it, equal mind, you say that? Do you understand when I say equal mind is not same as, what do you call it, neutral mind? Neutral mind, right? You think that's the same? No, they're different, right? They're different. Don't misunderstand between this positive and negative emotions. Usually people misunderstand a lot, right? For example, the between love and attachment. Sometimes people are saying, diminish attachment. They think, okay, I diminish love, my love. That's wrong, right? So love and attachment kind of similar but very different. Between also the confidence and pride, it's also a little bit similar but very different. Between faith and desire, you faith to Buddha or you desire is similar but very different. Between your experience and your realization is similar but very different. When you meditate, I got very good experience. Now I recognize everything. That's not, those are these emotions, positive emotion, negative emotions, very different. Because if you really investigate, their motivations are totally different. Totally different. Okay? So when you practice each of these immeasurable, sometimes it is very good if you practice these together, and sort of combined, because the practice of these four together will lead to a deep feeling that you are ready to practice action bodhicitta, application bodhicitta, right? But after some times, you should also practice each this individually, separately, so that you can sort of develop them quick and sort of easily. Do you understand? Sometimes you practice together, sometimes practice differently. So there, our mind is like what do you call it? Is like a wild animal, like horse. It's difficult to tame. We need lots of methods and lots of technique, or instructions. Slowly, our mind sort of bring back slowly. Otherwise, we can't do. So don't make big changes, in your life. You can make small. That's why I'm saying you should make commitment. But commitment is very important for practitioners. But small commitment. You should start small, not big. Oh, I want become. I want liberation, enlightenment, so that I can practice like 4 hours, 5 hours every day. No good, no good. That's too big, too big. So he said, "Oh, I want to develop this equanimity or this immeasurables, but I can practice like every day at least 30 minutes, 1 hour. Very good, right? 1 hour. That's we can. I mean, it's actually it depends your capacity. That's we need to always check how much how much the ability. If you really can practice like 5 hours every day, then maybe you have that capacity. But most people don't. So I can't make judge. I can't do this and that. I can't say that. But you should individually. We can examine and investigate our capacity. And it's also when you meditate, uh, very important, enjoyment, very important. And then second important, the first important, commitment. When you meditate, you should investigate what is the benefit. So if you see there is a benefit, then the second is commitment. And then after that, enjoyment. Very important, right? So meditate too long, not good. Too short, not good, right? So we have to try so many different things, okay? So that is for measurable. So now the equanimity is very important. Again, so when you meditate on equanimity, uh, again, like just you visualize. This is another way to practice equanimity. You visualize a friend, right? And then you really like, right, a friend. And then because equanimity is all beings, we cannot do that. So when you start practice equanimity, visualize a friend and a person or animal, whatever you don't like. Two things, okay? Don't like or neutral. Two things you visualize, and then think about each of these people and how you feel about it. We just to talk about it. This is actually how you meditate. And think about, there is no certainty. This is really important. There's no certainty that these people will always be your friend, always be your enemy. Uh, uh, that's not true. Everything is change. Everything is change. Everything is changing. Everything will change, right? So think also about all of these people, just like you. That's the main point, right? So thinking your own life as example for these people, right? And when you're thinking of the sort of sameness of these people to your own body, your own life, your own situation, in this way you will experience all are equal. How the equal mind is how important. You will see it, you will understand. And that's so important to develop like intellectually, and then practice with this kind of thought in your meditation, and until your mind changed. Okay, practice on friend, practice on neutral person or enemy, and continue investigate the situation, everything in detail until change your mind. Okay, and then after that make a commitment, right? No near, no far, no near, no far. It's commitment. And alternate this analytical meditation with rest and meditation. That's also very important. Sometimes you think too much, you will lose your calmness, right? Calm mind. Analytical only, not good. But also rest in meditation only, also not so good. So combine both together, very strong. It makes your mind flexible, It's so important. So sometimes analytic, you do meditate, sometimes rest, just to relax. And if you don't understand nature mind, that's okay. But you will see your awareness, focus on that. Even though it's difficult that, just to relax and focus on the breath, breathe in, out, like that few times. Makes your body is really calm and peace. And then think about another neutral person and a friend, and how the situation, why, what happened, that, it's all think about. And maybe you have more, when you meditate on this, you will understand. So important. So once you're done the analyzing like that, then just to sit, just to relax, and with your realization, as long as you can. That's how you practice. That's how I practice, equanimity. There are many ways. There are many ways you can practice this for immeasurables. But today I give you the instructions. That's how I meditate. How I meditate. And for me, it's the best way to, understand. It will change. Like for example, equal mind is like we have friend, we have enemy. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying that you should give up your friend. I'm not saying that, don't misunderstand, right? But think about between enemy and a friend. And then think about the situation will change, right? So the equal mind is the best. If we have a sort of near and far, which is come from attachment and anger, right? So those are cause of suffering, cause of unhappiness. If we try to diminish those near and far, and we have equal, and then we can see all people, all this whole universe become peaceful and equal and no harm, and so wonderful, right? And that's impossible, right? But we can practice that. Do you want practice, or how much we have time? Yeah, we have a little bit time. You want to practice on that? Do you have any questions? Yeah?
What you're saying, isn't it really just like, isn't that a lot like Tonglen? I mean, Tonglen kind of opens that gate to equanimity too, and
Exactly.
kind of dissolves that separation and lets compassion and loving kindness,
Right.
lets all that stuff kind of blossom. So Tonglen, and that's just about what you're saying, but not quite, isn't it?
Exactly. That's why I little bit changed. Usually, like for Tibetans, when they practice aspiration bodhicitta, they practice Tonglen a lot. You know Tonglen? Giving and taking a lot. That's how they do, how they develop the aspiration bodhicitta. But here in Western, sometimes a little bit problem. They have a problem. I don't want giving. They are suffering. I don't want give my happiness. I don't want taking their suffering. Then I become suffering. What should I do? So they have a little bit how they think, a little bit different, right? So that's why I changed. I changed a little bit. It's not quite like Tonglen practice, but very similar. Today I teach you, very similar. But the result, the benefit is the same. But if you want to practice Tonglen, it's really good. For example, like this is really, really good question. It's remind me like, when you practice love, right? On love, you give. You give. Love is give, right? So taking and giving. So the giving, you love happy. You giving your love, your happiness, your prosperity, everything, good fortune, everything you give. And then taking means like when you practice compassion, you're taking actually, taking their sufferings, their painful, then their unhappiness, you are taking. So giving and taking is actually practice love and compassion, right? So that's why they practice Tonglen. Tong means in Tibet, Tong means give. Len means taking, you know. What you give your happiness. That's all. What you take their suffering, you know. So it's very similar. It's very similar. Also, when you love, when you practice like love or give, um, you can develop your they call it samadhi, which is like the concentration, the meditate concentration. It's the part of the Komabaitan meditation. You give and then sort of a little bit the investigate the situations, and then after that you nothing, right? You just relax, meditate on that, just to focus on your mind. That is the concentration. So it's very similar.
One more thing, I've heard that same thing. People say, "Oh, I don't want to do that because I don't want to take on their suffering."
Yes.
But you can't take on somebody else's karma.
Right.
You see, they have to work out their own karma. You can't take their karma. I always jokingly say, if you could take other people's karma, all my children would be enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
And you just can't.
Right. That's exactly. But people think, that I explain many ways like we don't have actually capacity now. Take their suffering. We cannot take completely someone's suffering. We can take. But then why you meditate that? Well, why? If you don't have that capacity, why you meditate? That means like you develop your motivation, you develop your love, your compassion, right? So maybe eventually, but I don't think it's difficult. You can't take their suffering, and you don't have that. This is really uh, meditation. This meditation sometimes I think here lots of people I think a little bit makes uncomfortable, uh, but that's why sometimes I say like uh, giving and removing, not taking but remove. You should visualize remove their suffering from their body, from their mind, just to remove and then disappear is like a rainbow disappear as into space like that. You remove, then you don't have to take, right? That's a good. Right. But the whole idea is, is to try to change our negative, the negative, what do you call it? This attachment, jealousy, and all this. That's the whole point. Try to become a good person. Become a person who has a kind mind, warm mind, healthy mind, right? That's the point. Really, not point the others. You take or you give, right? But if you develop this and practice this way, you become a really good person. Become a really gentle and kindness and no harm, and very always your thoughts will be positive, not negative, positive. and then you will be. That's Buddha said. If you do this meditate, you get the benefit, and then turns your life become perfect, That is we call enlightenment. Do you understand? Full of love, full of compassion. If you have that quality, you are enlightened being. That's the enlightenment. Enlightenment means nothing exists outside. Do you understand? Enlightenment means your enlightenment is in here, in there, right here. That's all. Okay, maybe practice like 5 or 10 minutes on equanimity. Okay. But I think most people need to go back to far away, so I will not keep your time here. But you are not going. All right, just to relax and do you understand how to practice on equanimity? Yeah, clear? Clear. Good. Okay, no question. Good. So then practice few minutes. Okay. Do you have any commitment today? I'm going to do this. Short commitment, long-term commitment, small commitment. There are so many commitments, right? Yeah. So for a measurable practice, wonderful, very nice. You can summarize, like make it even sort of easier to understand. We can summarize the four measurable, these qualities, with one idea. You know that? Yeah? The kind heart. He said, a kind heart. A kind heart. Just to always try to have kind heart in all situation. That is a kind heart. We today talked about 4 things, right? Everything today we talk. If you have a kind heart, then you have everything. A kind heart, not when we have happy mind, happy situation, but kind heart at all situation. Whether good, not good situation, whatever. Try to keep a kind heart. Then we have for a measurable practice. Then we have aspiration bodhicitta. That's all about today. So I would like to say finally, thank you all for sharing your pleasures, your what do you call it, meditating together here and coming to class and listen to teaching, and very nice. And I hope your practice will grow and stronger and brings you some good changes, good changes, your life, your mind, whatever your practice makes you some good change. And very important, once you understand the teachings and instructions, put them into your practice. That is the key point. That's why Buddha always say you need to take the responsibility. That's why, because he showed the method that lead to liberation, right? But he said you need to take that responsibility. So which means like once you have the idea, the instructions, you have to put them into your life, right? At any situation, you can put dharma into your situation, into your life. That's the key point, you know. And um, what else? And then I also would like to thank you, uh, Kim and Jenny, again. Very nice host this space. Very nice. We enjoyed the nature environment around here. Nice. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you other like our Bodhicitta Sangha here, like Kate, this nice blue folder. Martin, thank you very much. And Heather and Kelly. I always wrong your name. Huh? Colleen. It's almost. And other like the volunteers, um, and people who bring here food, make food, nice food. Thank you very much. I don't know what else. And Bodhicitta Sangha here from Hibin, from Duluth. I appreciate all of you. You coordinate very nice and have a group. Continue, practice, meditate. Um, it's exist, and we have that opportunity because of you. So thank you, Bodhicitta Sangha. Thank you, Bodhicitta here in Ely. And thank you all. And coming together, taking care of your life, take the responsibility. That's very good. Each individual have responsibility, and then put that together as a sangha, bodhicitta sangha. You understand bodhicitta is a kind mind, right? So this sangha, I want our sangha, all the student people have a kind mind. That's why we say bodhicitta sangha, right? So once we have a kind mind, no matter what, we'll be okay, we'll be fine, we'll be happy, and uh, brings lots of good things into the sangha, help each other, very good. So far, very good. So therefore, uh, bottom of my heart, say thank you. Thank you, all of you. That's all I want to say. And then the last, I would like to uh, talk the dedicating, right? So we talk a lot of the motivation, right? That's how you start your meditation. Now time to dedicate. That's how you finish your practice. So dedicating means when we have done something that is good, that is virtuous, that is beneficial, it is very important to dedicate that merit for all sentient beings, free from suffering, have a cause of happiness. For that, we have to dedicate this merit, right? So we have done this good teachings, good practice, not only today, but many, many times, right? And so now we have to dedicate that virtues for benefit to all sentient beings, okay? So you should start by thinking all the good and virtuous things you have done in your life. This is kind of think about the rejoice, right? Whatever you done, helping people or good thoughts, have a good motivation, whatever you done in your life. And we should also think all the virtues and the activities completely by all of the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, our lineage, good people in this world. Then we bring all of that together, understand, in union, past, present, future. All these good things bring together and dedicating that merit in the same way the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, our lineage, enlightened beings dedicate that merit to all sentient beings. Do you understand? That's very important. How you, it's not today, right? But all the time. When you meditate, three spring methods. Do you understand? Three spring methods. Correct the motivation, concentrate your meditation, finish your meditation. So this is how you finish, okay? There we go.
Well, Dorothy wants to request that we say your long life prayer together.
Sure, of course.
So when you insert the long life prayer, you can do it between the bodhicitta prayer and before you conclude with the prayer of the 6 continuous aspirations by Longchenpa.
I don't have that. Where is?
That's right.
You have one?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Oh,
Does anyone need one? Anyone need one of the long life prayers?
all right. Closing prayers. May I attain in each and every life the sublime virtues of existence and peace. May I pursue the flawless mindset of altruism